In Sabaody, we're introduced to the supernovas. These are the rookies poised to take on the new world and usher in a new generation of piracy. All the rookies are in one place and they all bounce off each other and interact in interesting ways. We've followed the Straw Hats for about 300 episodes or 400 chapters, and we've seen them go from a ragtag band of pirates to now a cohesive crew with unwavering loyalty towards their captain. They've taken down 2 warlords and declared war on the world government. The entire crew has a bounty now, indicating that they're now serious pirates. We now feel as though this crew is ready to take on the world following their passionate and charismatic captain. We're introduced to all these pirates who have a bounty over 100 million. An intimidating bunch for sure, but we know that Luffy has a bounty over 300 million, so it's still kind of implied that Luffy has a bounty that exceeds them. That, along with Zoro, the vice captain, being among this crowd, made it seem like the Straw Hat crew, despite this, was probably still the most powerful crew. That feeling was really short-lived. There's one entity that still outclasses them. That entity is Eustass, Captain Kidd, and the Kidd Pirates. Before the time skip, we see Kidd and Killer portrayed above Luffy and Zoro. These people were set up to be greater figures that Luffy and Zoro would eventually pass as the series went on. Fast forward to Wano, and the Straw Hat duo has been seen and acknowledged to have far surpassed the Kidd Pirates duo. Luffy's bounty is higher than Kidd's, and Zoro beat Killer in a direct confrontation. What exactly happened in the meantime that made the Straw Hats pass the Kidd Pirates? What did Luffy do to outclass Kidd? On the outset, Luffy and Kidd are very similar. They're meant to be foils similar to Luffy and Blackbeard. They're both rookies as established, and they both pursue their dreams with reckless abandon. But Kidd hasn't seen the same success since the time skip. And why exactly is that the case? I believe the first reason is because, unlike Luffy, Kidd didn't train before going into the new world. You can get stronger through fighting battles, but there also seems to be some wisdom in actually training. Right before the time skip, we experienced Marineford. In this arc, Luffy played a pivotal role in attempting to get Ace back, and certainly if it wasn't for him, things would have played out differently. However, it was very clearly not Luffy's strength that helped him, it was his charisma. Luffy's ability to rally people behind him is unmatched. But throughout the arc, he ran out of steam and had to get boosts from Ivankov just to keep himself in the fight. Many people he helped break out to save Ace were still in the fight, whereas he was not. Luffy just wasn't on their level. A lot of these people have experience in the new world, and he clearly wasn't ready for that world. Kidd, however, didn't actually experience this. He only observed Marineford from afar. This is important, and it was very humbling for Luffy, but you can still observe that Luffy still did want to go to the new world after Marineford. He still wanted to go back with his crew and continue what they were doing. Luffy still needed to be fully persuaded, and this brings me to my next point, which I had alluded to. Luffy is able to work with and inspire people, unlike Kidd. Luffy was able to get a friend in Jinbei to stop him from making that mistake. On a less practical and more narrative level, Luffy is headstrong, but he is more empathetic. He's able to at least hear people out and understand their positions. Do you honestly think that if Jinbei told Kidd to train up that he would have, even after Marineford? I personally don't think so. Luffy got one-shotted by Kaido and realized that he needed to change his approach, and then he went on to learn Ryo. Kidd didn't do any training in prison. Luffy also took Zoro's words about Luffy leaving the crew seriously. He inspires people to trust him, and then he's also able to trust them. He's in general just more willing to help those in need. I'll talk about this more later on, but Luffy also tries to save people and leave them in a better position than they're in currently. Just in the most recent example I can think of, look at what Luffy said to Tama. He promised that this wealth of food won't be something rare once he leaves. Do you seriously think that Kidd is trying to make Wano better? This subtle bit of empathy goes a long way to distinguish Luffy from Kidd. The ability to work with people is something that Kidd has struggled with in the new world. While Luffy's crewmate have attempted to leave the crew before, Luffy is able to see through that and acknowledge their true heart. Kidd formed an alliance with Scratchman Apu and Hawkins, and that ended up not working out. Perhaps this alliance didn't pan out so well is because Kid is just not as easily able to read intentions as Luffy is. Whole Cake Island, an arc before this, was an arc partly about identity, tearing down identities, and realizing who you really are. Luffy gaining future sight is a way he's physically able to manifest his ability to see through people. It's also an ability to change and determine his destiny. It then makes perfect sense for him to work with and succeed in his alliance with Beige. Beige isn't exactly a very trustworthy man. He's a mafia boss after all. But the relationship and alliance was mutual and ended amicably. It isn't just that Luffy is able to get people to follow him, it's that he's also able to get the right people to follow him. Before this, Luffy and Law formed an alliance. It felt as though Law was using Luffy at the beginning of Dressrosa. He even said as much. He said, "Ever since I first proposed this alliance, I've been intending on using them as a tool to further my goal of destroying the Smile production process. That was my plan all along." But this relationship eventually became a trusting relationship. It isn't all that dissimilar from Kid's alliance at the start, but it ultimately turned out differently. Luffy's able to get the right people to join him, but even when it doesn't seem like he has the right people on his side, he's still able to inspire them. He not only makes people rally around him, but inspires them to believe in him. He genuinely wants people to be free from whatever's holding them back. Oden's scabbards follow him not only because they ought to be loyal to him, but because he changed their lives for the better. Kawamatsu, for example, was left out and Oden saved him. In a similar way, Luffy's crew follows him also because he makes them better. And part of the reason his alliances succeed is because he makes them believe in him. Luffy doesn't just create alliances for power, but also instills trust. A lot of the Wano arc is about trust. The 9 scabbards had an imposter, for example. It's not just Kid who failed. Perhaps Luffy forming an alliance with Beige and Law is important to establish the fact that Luffy is different from the bunch. Another difference, which I had alluded to before, is in how they go about what they're fighting for. Luffy is fighting in part for other people many times, for those he likes and those who are close to him. Luffy got sent to prison in the first place partly because he thought his crew died, but what actually was the straw that broke the camel's back was when he thought Tama died. What you'll find is that Luffy fights for other people a lot of the time as well. Luffy engages with the scabbards of Oden, he fights for the food in Ebisu, he fights for clean water for Tama. Kid was single-mindedly set on his goal with no one else in mind. Kid acts like, well, a pirate. He represents what Luffy would be if he was more of a traditional pirate. This is shown perfectly at the beginning of the Onigashima raid. Luffy and Zoro were showing rage at the people who were treating food so recklessly while the rest of the country starves. The only thing on Kid's mind was taking Kaido's head and getting the glory that comes thereafter. Kid fights for glory and Luffy fights for adventure and freedom. Luffy also wants glory in some instances, but that's more or less a means to achieving his higher goal of freedom. Luffy just so happens to have to be stronger to reach his goal. I won't deny that Kid probably wants freedom for himself, but it's not the main goal. The reason Kid wants to be Pirate King is not really because of freedom, but it's more so because of the glory and power that comes with it. Rox and Blackbeard have some similarities, but I think Kid has some as well. Rox wanted to be the king of the world, and Kid strives for a similar position. Kid doesn't want to defeat Kaido to free up Wano or open up its borders. He doesn't engage with the citizens and try to free them from an unjust authority. He wants to have Kaido's head because of what that entails. He wants to be the most powerful. He wants to have the head of the most powerful creature. Luffy wants to take on all 4 Yonko to establish himself as the best pirate. But he also goes from island to island to free them from their oppressors, to give them control and the opportunity to prosper. Kid is like a twisted version of Luffy. He shares his recklessness, but he doesn't care about the civilians' lives. Luffy isn't necessarily a beacon of morality, and by his own account he isn't even a hero, but he does end up saving nations when he gets entangled with them. Like a true foil, he's similar to Luffy but distinctly different in some key ways. Luffy's idea of freedom is the last reason I think Luffy wins and Kid fails. One of the themes of One Piece is dreams and adventure, and I believe Luffy, Blackbeard, and Kid all think about them in different ways. In Mocktown, Luffy is willing to get spat on, beaten up, and disgraced for his dream because he understands that if Bellamy isn't a dreamer, he isn't worth his time. Someone who laughs at a man's dreams simply isn't worth the effort. This man does not have the drive or mentality to make it to the top, and it's simply not possible to explain to him just how wrong he is. Even if they do fail, there's something aspirational about dreams. Striving to do something that seems impossible. Striving to push the limits of what is possible. That's aspirational. That isn't something to laugh at. Blackbeard actually understands this, and he believes in dreams just as Luffy does. The difference is, he doesn't care about the adventure. Blackbeard believes in Sky Island, and he never laughs at Luffy for wanting to go there. But it's important to note that he has no aspiration of actually going. He believes in it the way Luffy does, but doesn't want to enjoy the little detours. That's all extra stuff getting in the way of his goal. Kid is a step up from Bellamy though. Kid talks about his experience in the Grand Line where he killed anyone who dared to laugh at his dream to become the Pirate King. But what's different is that while Luffy didn't bother fighting Bellamy, Kid explicitly killed everyone who disagreed with him. So while Kid understands dreams and aspirations, he doesn't know what battles to fight. Luffy and Blackbeard didn't bother fighting when people laughed at their dream, it just wasn't worth it to them. So in the lowest tier we have Bellamy, who doesn't know when to fight, doesn't believe in dreams, and doesn't want adventure. A step above that we have Kid, who does believe in dreams, but doesn't want adventure, and doesn't know what battles he needs to fight. This is perhaps how he lost his arm in the middle of the time skip. It's also interesting to note that Shanks was the one who got rid of his arm. The last time Blackbeard encountered Shanks at Marineford, he recognized that he wasn't ready for him and he left. Not only should he have trained during those 2 years, but he shouldn't have gone to the fights that he did. And then we have Blackbeard, who believes in dreams and knows when to fight, but doesn't care about adventure. And then we have Luffy, who believes in dreams, loves adventure, and knows his time to fight. If Kid were in Mocktown, he would have fought Bellamy. Kid's ego would put him in conflict with anyone who threatens his dreams. The mature thing to do is to only fight when you need to, fighting for a greater, higher purpose. The purposes that I mentioned before. Maybe it was Oda's intention to have Kid have this childish understanding of what it means to be a pirate king, and what it means to be free. The Kid Pirates literally being Kid Pirates. Blackbeard is closer to getting this than Kid, but we're not at the point in the story where Blackbeard is a main villain. So Luffy needed this mid-series foil to prepare us for Blackbeard and the endgame. Kid's been clowned on in the New World and has been taking L's left and right. He likely won't recover from this and will just fade into irrelevance. Just another step in Luffy's path to Pirate King. While perhaps Luffy's bounty is premature and his feats in Whole Cake Island are overstated, it does show that he at least has the charisma to warrant that threat level. Kid's bounty is perhaps understated, but he will never have that effect Luffy has. Even the world government believes in Luffy more. Kaido couldn't break Kid's will. I don't even think Luffy will. I don't think it's possible to break someone like Kid's will. But I think Luffy should make Kid reevaluate his flaws. At least, this is all what I think. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Peace.